Hello, dear friend, and welcome. I'm so glad you're here with me right now. Before we begin, I invite you to take a deep breath and get comfortable. If you'd like, feel free to share in the comments where in the world you're watching from, and maybe even what's weighing on your mind. Whatever might be troubling you, know that you're not alone. We're here together in this moment, and it's okay to let go of your worries for a while. This time is for you. Let my voice guide you into a peaceful space as we journey through one of the oldest and most beautiful stories ever told. It's a story of beginnings, a story of love and care. Tonight, I will speak to you as the main character of this story, so you can truly experience it for yourself. All you need to do is listen, imagine, and relax. Now let's begin our gentle journey into the story of Adam and Eve. You find yourself at the dawn of time in a world freshly made. Everything around you is new and pure. You open your eyes for the very first time and inhale softly. The air is warm and sweet, filled with the scent of blossoms and rich earth. You realize you're lying on soft, lush grass. Above you, the sky stretches out a perfect blue, with golden sunlight filtering through the leaves of nearby trees. The light dances on your skin, and a comfortable peace fills you. You sit up slowly and look around in wonder. All about you is a garden paradise, the Garden of Eden, a place crafted by the hand of God just for you. Towering trees laden with ripe fruits surround you. Their leaves rustle gently in a mild breeze. You hear the musical trickle of a stream flowing nearby, and somewhere in the branches above a bird sings a soft, cheerful song. Every tree that grows here is beautiful to see and good for food. In the very center of this garden, you notice two particularly majestic trees. One is the tree of life, its branches heavy with golden fruit that seems to glow softly. The other is the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, a mysterious tree with deep green leaves and fruit that catches your eye with its rich color. As you take in all this beauty, you feel the presence of someone else, a warm, loving presence. You are not alone here. God is with you. He has formed you from the dust of the ground with great care, breathing into you the breath of life. Because of him, you live and move and have your being. You sense his kindness and power all around. In the whisper of the breeze and the vibrant life in the garden, you feel God's gentle love watching over you. After a moment you stand up, your bare feet sinking slightly into the cool, soft soil. You feel strong and alive. Every part of your body, from the top of your head to the tips of your fingers and toes, is perfectly crafted. As you stretch, the sunlight warms you and the fragrant breeze wraps around you like a comforting blanket. There is no ache or pain, no fear or worry, only peace and an innocent curiosity about this world around you. God speaks to you in a voice as calm and soothing as the flowing water nearby. Though you do not see him with your eyes right now, you hear him in your heart. He guides you gently and you listen. He tells you that this entire garden is yours to live in and enjoy. All of it has been given to you as a gift. Every plant that bears seed, every fruit on the trees, all are yours for food and delight. In fact, God says to you, of every tree of the garden you may freely eat. You smile, grateful and amazed at the abundance around you. Together with God, you walk through the garden as he shows you the wonders of this place. You reach up and pick a ripe, juicy piece of fruit from a nearby tree, perhaps a plump fig or a sweet orange, and take a bite. The flavor is like nothing you've ever tasted, and indeed it is the first thing you've ever eaten. It's delicious and satisfying. God lovingly made all this with you in mind, and you feel thankful. As you wander through Eden, you see clear streams winding through groves of trees. A soft mist rises from the earth each morning to water the ground, so everything is lush and green. You dip your hand into one of the cool streams and bring water to your lips. It is fresh and pure, refreshing you instantly. Birds of every color flit from branch to branch, and none of them are afraid of you. In fact, one tiny bluebird swoops down and lands on your open palm as if to greet you. You laugh softly at the tickle of its little feet against your skin. Everywhere you look, gentle creatures peek out from behind bushes or approach out of curiosity. A pair of rabbits hops quietly near your feet, their noses twitching. Over by the water, a deer and her fawn bend their necks to drink, all in perfect peace. Overhead you catch a glimpse of a majestic eagle gliding lazily through the sky. This world is harmonious and safe. All the animals are friendly and calm, living together with you in this paradise. In the midst of this tranquility, God gives you a purpose. With love, He places you in the garden to dress it and to keep it, to tend the plants, care for the land, and nurture this beautiful home. There is no burden in this work, only joy and fulfillment. You find yourself gently pruning a few vines here and there to help them grow, gathering ripe fruits when you're hungry, and guiding curious little animals away from delicate young sprouts when needed. Every task is pleasant and light. As you work, the earth responds to your touch with abundance. Flowers seem to bloom wherever you have walked, and the soil easily yields its gifts. You sense that you're not just a guest here. You belong here. This garden is your home, and you are its caretaker, working hand in hand with God who made it. Days pass in radiance and contentment. Each morning golden light spills across Eden, awakening the chorus of birds. You rise from your rest. Sometimes you sleep nestled in soft grass under the shelter of a great oak, lulled by the rhythmic chirping of crickets at night, though time itself feels different here, gentle and unhurried. In the cool of the day, you often sense God's presence especially near. It is as if He strolls through the garden with you in the evenings, a loving friend and guide. In these moments you feel truly complete and safe. One morning God brings you to a comfortable clearing where the sunlight falls in beams through the trees. There He has gathered a variety of the animals of the field and birds of the air for you to meet. You kneel down as a curious lamb comes forward, nuzzling your hand. Its wool is soft under your fingers, and it gazes at you with gentle eyes. You smile and decide to call this creature Lamb. God encourages you to name each creature, and you do so gladly. A mighty lion with a golden mane strides out of the trees next. For a moment you marvel at its strength, but in this peaceful world it poses no threat. The lion pads over to you and rubs its great head against your arm affectionately. You laugh, patting its side, and name this one Lion. One by one the animals come to you. Brilliant green parrots flutter down, and you call them birds. A playful dolphin splashes in a nearby stream, and you give it the name Dolphin, even as droplets of water glitter in the air around you both. From the smallest ladybug to the tallest giraffe, you meet each living creature with awe and kindness. You realize that just as God made this garden for you, He also made these creatures and gave you the honor of caring for them and naming them. In a way, they are your family too, and you cherish them. As you spend time with the animals, you notice something interesting. Many of them come in pairs. 2 parrots sit together on a branch, chirping to each other. 2 dolphins swim side by side in the stream. The lion that nuzzled you lies down in the grass, joined by another lion, a lioness, who playfully paws at him. Everywhere you look, creatures have companions. They have others like themselves to roam the forest with, to curl up beside in the evenings. You pause and feel a new strange sensation in your heart. Until now, you've been completely happy and content. Yet as you watch a pair of doves cooing to each other on a low tree branch, you feel the faint echo of loneliness. You realize that while you're surrounded by all this beauty and life, none of these creatures are quite like you. They are wonderful, but you cannot speak to them in the deeper way your heart desires. There is no one who can truly share your thoughts, your wonder, and your joy on an equal level. God, who knows your innermost heart, understands this longing even before you fully do. He has said, "It is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him a helper suitable for him." You trust God and know that He cares for you, so you gently place this budding desire into His hands. As the day wanes and the sky turns shades of soft orange and pink, painting the clouds with gentle colours, you feel a wave of drowsiness come over you. You've spent the day exploring and naming animals, and your body's pleasantly tired. God guides you to lie down and rest. You stretch out on the cool, soft ground, using a cushion of moss under your head. The scent of jasmine flowers nearby and the distant sound of the flowing river relax you further. The last thing you remember as your eyes grow heavy is the warm glow of the setting sun peeking through the leaves above. God is watching over you and you feel completely safe. You surrender to a deep, peaceful sleep, unlike any you have ever known. While you sleep, God works quietly and lovingly. You do not feel any pain or disturbance. You are lost in dreams of gardens and starlight. In this gentle slumber, you are unaware that God is carefully taking one of the ribs from your side and, with divine power and artistry, forming it into something new. You breathe slowly and evenly, enveloped in a cocoon of God's peace, as He creates the perfect companion for you. After some time, you begin to drift toward wakefulness. You feel the morning sun on your face and the cool dew on the grass around you. Slowly, you open your eyes. The sky is painted with the soft gold of early daylight. You sit up, rubbing your eyes, feeling rested and refreshed. At first, everything seems as it was. The garden is quiet and calm in the dawn, and you can hear birds starting their morning songs. But then you notice someone nearby, and you catch your breath in astonishment. Lying on the ground not far from where you slept is a being that looks familiar and yet new. It is not an animal, not any creature you named the day before. It is another person. You rise to your knees, hardly believing your eyes. She is beautiful. She lies sleeping still, her form gently illuminated by the morning light. Like you, she has 2 arms, 2 legs, hands and feet. She's in your likeness, made of the same flesh and bone. You realize at once that this is the companion, the helper suitable for you that God promised to make. This is the first woman created by God from your very own rib, brought into existence to be by your side. Your heart swells with gratitude and joy. You feel an immediate connection to her, a sense of recognition and love. In awe, you gently reach out and speak the very first words that come to you, your voice soft with wonder. This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. Tears of happiness gather in your eyes as you continue. She shall be called woman because she was taken out of man. These words express the truth you feel, that she is part of you, made of the same essence, a gift from God, so you will never again be alone. At the sound of your voice, the woman wakes. She opens her eyes, which shine with innocence and curiosity. When she sees you, a smile blooms across her face, as radiant as the morning sun. In that moment, you both know you are meant for each other. There is an immediate understanding, a bond of love that God Himself has formed. You help her to her feet, and the 2 of you stand facing each other, hand in hand, beneath the canopy of Eden's trees. Neither of you is clothed, and yet you feel no shame, no embarrassment. There is nothing impure in your gaze. You see each other as God intended, His precious children, perfectly made. The innocence of the world has not been broken, and so you feel only purity and respect. Her long hair cascades over her shoulders, and she stands unafraid and graceful. You marvel at how complete you feel now with her presence beside you. No words are needed to convey the peace and joy you both share, but you find yourselves laughing softly, out of sheer delight in one another and in the goodness of God. God blesses this union, this first friendship and marriage. Though you cannot see Him, you feel His delight surrounding you both like sunshine. In your hearts, you hear Him speaking love over you. He tells you and the woman that you are meant to be together as one flesh, to support and cherish each other always. He also gives you both a new purpose and hope for the future. God gently says to you both, "Be fruitful and multiply. Fill the earth and subdue it. Have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves on the earth." You and your wife look at each other, intrigued and hopeful about this future. The idea that one day you might have children and that your family will grow and fill the earth, extending the joy of Eden everywhere. Hand in hand, you and the woman, your wife, your beloved companion, begin to explore the garden together. You introduce her to all the wonders you have already discovered. Together you walk under the towering fruit trees, pointing out those that have the sweetest figs and the juiciest pomegranates. You lead her to the stream where you drank the day before, and both of you kneel to sip the crystal-clear water, laughing as you splash a little water on each other. A pair of bright yellow butterflies flutter past. and she reaches out in delight as one perches briefly on her fingertips. All around, the animals of the garden approach to greet their new friend. The woman is delighted by each one. The gentle lamb comes up and nudges her, and she giggles, running her hand over its soft wool as you did. A curious monkey swings down from a tree and cocks its head at her. She smiles and offers it a piece of fruit from a nearby branch, which it takes before scampering off. Every creature recognizes that she, like you, is a caring guardian in this garden, and they trust her as they trust you. During these days, your happiness is as bright and steady as the sun overhead. You and your wife live in complete harmony with each other, with nature, and with God. You spend your days discovering new delights. Juicy berries tucked in the bushes, secret groves of fragrant cedar trees, colourful flowers that bloom along the riverbanks. Sometimes you climb together up a gentle hill to get a view of the entire garden. From up high you can see the river splitting into streams that water every corner of Eden, and the sunlight reflecting off the river looks like diamonds scattered on blue glass. You can see distant fields of wildflowers waving in the breeze. In those moments, with the beautiful world stretching out below and your dearest companion at your side, you feel a profound contentment. You often thank God aloud, praising him for the beauty of creation and the gift of each other. Your voices mingle with the whispering leaves and birdsong, a sweet offering of gratitude that drifts up to the heavens. By evening the sky fades to a gentle purple, and stars begin to twinkle above. There is never a harsh storm or a fearful sound, only the calming chorus of crickets and the occasional hoot of an owl hidden in the branches. In the cool of the evening, you and your wife sometimes hear the Lord God moving in the garden, his presence drawing near to you in a soft breeze. These times are especially precious. You both feel the deep peace of God's love surrounding you. Sometimes, in the quiet dusk, you speak with God openly, as a child to a loving father. Other times, you simply walk under the trees hand in hand with your wife, listening for God's voice in the rustling leaves or feeling his nearness in the golden twilight air. In those moments your heart is completely untroubled and at rest. One night, after a day full of joy and exploration, you and your wife prepare to sleep under the canopy of stars. The night air is mild and fragrant with the scent of night-blooming flowers. You lie down on a soft patch of grass beside each other. She rests her head against your shoulder, and you curl an arm around her protectively. Above, the sky is dazzling. Millions of stars glitter like jewels set in black velvet. You both gaze up in wonder. Neither of you have ever seen these lights before, and they are breathtaking. You point out a cluster that forms a gentle arc across the sky. Later generations will call it the Milky Way, and she marvels at it with you. In a hushed voice, you imagine together that perhaps God placed each star in the sky with care, just as he planted every tree in the garden with love. Before sleep takes you, you turn to your wife, and in a soft voice you give thanks to God, for the food, for the animals, for the beauty of the day, and most of all for bringing the two of you together. She adds her own sweet thanks, her voice musical in the darkness. You both feel a quiet joy bubbling up as you speak. When you finish, you feel that God has heard and is pleased. The sense of his smile is all around you. With hearts light and free, you and your wife close your eyes. You drift into a deep and dreamless sleep, secure in each other's arms and in the care of your Creator. Time flows gently in Eden, and you do not mark the passing of days as we do now. Each moment is simply another note in the song of paradise. But one day, a day that begins like any other, will become a day unlike any you have lived before. It starts in the morning with the sun glowing soft and pale gold through the dew. You and your wife wake up refreshed as always and share a smile unaware of what is to come. After tending to a few young plants together and enjoying a light breakfast of sweet figs and berries, you find yourselves wandering toward the heart of the garden. Your path winds through the groves until you arrive near the centre, where the two remarkable trees stand, the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. You have seen these trees before from a distance and felt their significance. Often you both admired the tree of life with its golden fruit, wondering at the gift of eternal life that it represents. As for the other tree, The tree of the knowledge of good and evil, you have respected God's command and kept a respectful distance. Still, perhaps curiosity has drawn you a little closer today. The tree is beautiful, with low branches and leaves that are lush and green. Its fruit is a rich colour, hanging temptingly among the foliage. You gaze at it, remembering God's gentle warning that eating that fruit would lead to death. At your side, your wife also looks on in quiet contemplation. In the stillness of that moment, a rustling sound in the branches of the forbidden tree catches your attention. Out of the corner of your eye, you see a serpent coiled around a nearby limb. You have seen serpents before in the garden, sleek, graceful creatures that move silently through the grass or hang from trees. They have never harmed you. In fact, all animals thus far have been friendly. This serpent, however, seems to be watching you and your wife intently with glittering eyes that reflect a strange intelligence. Before you think to say anything, the serpent speaks. In a smooth, beguiling voice, it addresses your wife. "Did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden?" it asks. Its tone is curious, almost innocent, yet the question itself feels slightly off. You glance at your wife, surprised to hear an animal speak, though in this perfect world perhaps it doesn't shock you as much as it might today. She frowns thoughtfully and answers the serpent. "We may eat fruit from the trees in the garden," she explains, "but God said we must not eat fruit from the tree in the middle of the garden, the tree of knowledge, and we must not touch it, or else we will die." You nod silently, affirming her words as you stand beside her. The serpent's eyes narrow ever so slightly, and a subtle, sly smile seems to curl across its face. It slides a little further down the branch, closer to you both, its scales catching the dapples of sunlight. In a soft hiss, the serpent replies, "You will not surely die. God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." These words hang in the air for a moment, and you feel your breath catch. Be like God? Know good and evil? Your wife gazes up at the fruit again. You can see curiosity and a newfound desire flickering across her face. She steps a little closer to the tree, almost underneath the serpent's perch. You stay at her side, your own heart now pounding slowly as you consider the serpent's claims. Could it be telling the truth? You remember God's clear command and the loving way he warned you of death if you disobeyed. Yet having never experienced death, the concept feels abstract. The fruit is right there, beautiful, plump and fragrant. A part of you wonders, is it really so dangerous? Or could it truly impart wisdom and make us more like our Creator? Your wife reaches out her hand hesitantly. She glances back at you, and you see the conflict in her eyes, a mix of doubt, longing, and a kind of innocent boldness. In that instant, you could speak up. You could remind her and yourself of God's command. But you remain silent, a quiet turmoil holding your tongue. The serpent watches eagerly, its body tensed in anticipation. Then, in a fateful decision, your wife wraps her fingers around one of the smooth, ripe fruits. It comes away easily in her hand. You watch as she examines it, turning it slowly. The fruit's aroma drifts to you. It is sweet, enticing. The woman looks at the fruit and sees that it is good for food and very pleasing to the eye, and she feels a yearning for wisdom awaken within her. With a resolve born of curiosity and temptation, she raises the fruit to her mouth. You see her close her eyes and take a bite. Time seems to slow as she eats. For a moment, everything is still. She then opens her eyes and exhales. A small, puzzled smile comes over her face, as if she senses something new but cannot yet understand it. She turns to you and extends the fruit she has bitten, offering it to you. "Here, my love," she says softly, her voice a mix of excitement and uncertainty. "I have tasted it. It's delightful. Please, you try it too." Your heart lurches. In front of you is the forbidden fruit, the one thing in this entire paradise that God had held back from you. Your beloved wife has eaten it and seemingly remains standing, alive, and even radiant in some unfamiliar way. She looks at you with earnest expectation. You think of your love for her, and a desire not to be separated from whatever she is experiencing wells up in you. Perhaps you also reason to yourself, if she did not fall down dead, maybe the serpent was right. Maybe there is something wonderful here that God for some reason hadn't shared yet. With trembling hands you accept the fruit. The serpent slithers further back into the leaves, as if watching this final act with triumphant eyes. You swallow nervously, then bring the fruit to your lips. It feels heavy in your hand, symbolic of the choice you're about to make. Then you take a bite. The taste is sweet, astonishingly sweet at first, like honey and sunshine. But almost immediately it turns bitter on your tongue. You swallow, and as you do, a strange sensation ripples through you. It's as if a veil has dropped from your eyes and mind. Suddenly the world does not look quite the same. You glance at your wife and realize with a jolt that both of you are naked, truly naked, and an intense rush of emotion floods you. For the first time you feel shame. A burning heat creeps up your face. You avert your eyes from your wife's body and quickly fold your arms over your own. What is this feeling? Just moments ago, neither of you felt any discomfort in your bare skin, but now an overwhelming need for cover and privacy overwhelms you. Your wife's smile disappears as she too becomes acutely aware of her exposed state. She crosses her arms and hunches slightly, her expression turning anxious. The knowledge of good and evil has indeed come, but not as the proud enlightenment the serpent promised. Instead, it crashes down as a heavy burden of guilt and self-consciousness. You both sense that something precious has been lost, the pure innocence that made you feel free and unashamed. The serpent is nowhere to be seen now. Perhaps it has slunk away, its dark purpose accomplished. Around you, the garden is unchanged. The trees still sway gently, the birds still sing, but within you everything feels different. A chill breeze picks up, and for the first time you feel a discomfort in that chill. You realize you're cold without clothing, another new sensation that adds to your urgency to hide. Frantically, you and your wife look around for something, anything, to cover yourselves. Near the base of the tree, broad green fig leaves spread out in abundance. You gather several of the large leaves, and together you begin to improvise primitive garments. Your hands shake as you weave the leaves together with thin vines, an urgent task driven by your embarrassment. Your wife's eyes fill with tears, whether from shame or regret or fear you cannot tell. Perhaps it is all three. You reach out to wipe a tear from her cheek, and she gives you a tremulous, apologetic smile. Silently, you both acknowledge the weight of what you've done. At last, you each have fashioned simple coverings around your waist, aprons of fig leaves to hide your nakedness. You feel slightly more secure with something covering your body, yet the shame and fear do not subside. You have never felt fear until this day, and it grips your heart now. What will happen next? Will God appear suddenly? What will he say? The serpent's words echo faintly in your mind. You will not surely die, but you wonder, are we about to die for what we've done? Or will there be some other consequence? The uncertainty gnaws at you. You reach for your wife's hand and hold it tightly. Both of you are trembling. As the day wears on toward late afternoon, the golden light of Eden begins to soften and lengthen, stretching shadows across the garden floor. You and your wife remain near the cover of the trees, unsure what to do. Your hearts are heavy with regret and fear. Several times you begin to speak to each other, to make sense of what happened, but words fail. How can you express the confusing jumble of emotions inside? The joyful harmony of your life just this morning has given way to discord, within yourselves and between each other. You notice you cannot meet each other's gaze for long without remembering your guilt. Still, you stay close because facing this alone would be far worse. Then, in the quiet of the early evening, you hear the sound you had always welcomed before, the gentle rustling that tells you the Lord God is approaching, walking in the garden in the cool of the day. In times past, this was your favourite part of the day, when God would commune with you and you felt only joy at his presence. But now terror strikes you at the sound. Instinctively, you and your wife dart behind a grove of thick trees. You crouch low among the bushes and broad leaves, trying to make yourselves as inconspicuous as possible. Your breathing is fast and shallow, adrenaline coursing through you. The Lord God calls out, his voice rolling gently through the garden, "Where are you?" He knows, of course, where you are. There is a gentle sorrow in his voice, as if he already understands what has happened. Yet he offers you the chance to come forward on your own. For a moment you squeeze your eyes shut, wishing desperately that you could turn back time, reverse your action, or even become invisible. But it's too late for that. Mustering courage, you decide to answer. Your voice cracks as you call back from your hiding place. I heard your voice in the garden and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid myself. It is the first time any human being has ever spoken of being afraid of God's presence. Saying it aloud fills you with even more sorrow. There is a hush, and then God speaks again with a voice that is tender but heavy with grief. Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree of which I commanded you that you should not eat? Each word is filled with understanding. God knows exactly what has transpired. He is giving you a moment to confess, to speak the truth of what you have done. Your heart feels like it will break. You stand up slowly from behind the trees, still clutching a leaf garment around your waist with shaking hands. Your wife stands beside you, head bowed, tears on her cheeks. Facing God now, although you still cannot see him in a physical form, you feel his holy presence before you. You feel more exposed than ever, despite the coverings. Words spill out of your mouth fraught with anxiety and regret. The woman whom you gave to be with me, she gave me fruit from the tree and I ate. In your fear, you blurt out the first explanation that comes to mind. You blame your wife for giving you the fruit, and in a way you even place a hint of blame on God by saying, "whom you gave to be with me." The moment the words are out, you feel a pang of guilt for trying to shift the fault. But you are desperate to answer God's question. God then turns to the woman, your wife, and asks solemnly, "What is this that you have done?" Her voice trembles as she responds, "The serpent deceived me, and I ate." She too casts blame elsewhere, pointing to the serpent who tricked her. You both have now confessed, but neither of you directly said, "I disobeyed." Fear still grips you, and the instinct to deflect responsibility came too easily. There is a silence that follows, the kind that makes your soul ache. You sense that while God is grieved, his righteous justice must now address what has happened. The Lord God first addresses the serpent that tempted you. Though you cannot see where the serpent has gone, God's voice rings out with authority. "Because you have done this, you are cursed more than all cattle, and more than every beast of the field. On your belly you shall go, and you shall eat dust all the days of your life." You recall how the serpent had perched confidently in the tree. Now God condemns it to crawl on the ground, humbled and cast down. God continues, "I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and her offspring. He shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel." These words are mysterious to you, but they carry a tone of eventual triumph over the serpent. It sounds as though, one day, a descendant of the woman will deal a fatal blow to the serpent, a crushed head, though not without suffering, a bruised heel. Even in this moment of judgment, God is already sowing seeds of hope that evil will not forever triumph. Then God turns to your wife. You reach over and take her hand, knowing the next words are for her and wishing you could comfort her. In a voice filled with compassion yet firmness, God says to the woman, "I will greatly multiply your sorrow and your conception. In pain you shall bring forth children." Your wife closes her eyes as she hears this, and a new kind of fear crosses her face at the mention of pain, something neither of you have experienced before. God continues, "Your desire shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you." You both understand that your relationship, which had been one of pure, easy harmony, will now face struggles. The equality and innocence you shared might be marred by selfish desires and a tension in your roles. She will yearn for closeness, yet there may be times of misunderstanding. You will be called to lead, but at times you may dominate or fail to lead with love. The weight of these words settles heavily in both of your hearts. Finally, God speaks to you, Adam. His voice addresses you with sorrowful clarity. Because you have hearkened to the voice of your wife, and have eaten from the tree of which I commanded you, saying, You shall not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for your sake. In toil you shall eat of it all the days of your life. You feel a sting of regret. You had been tasked to care for the ground, and now your disobedience has brought a curse upon it. God continues, Both thorns and thistles it shall bring forth for you, and you shall eat the herb of the field. By the sweat of your face you shall eat bread till you return to the ground, for out of it you were taken, for dust you are, and to dust you shall return. These final words land with heavy finality. The life that God breathed into you from the dust will one day leave you, and your body will return to dust. Death, a concept so foreign and dreadful, is now confirmed as your eventual fate. You turn to your wife, seeing the anguish on her face, and feel a surge of tender love and responsibility. She will bear the burden of bringing life into the world through pain, yet through her, life will continue. Wanting to comfort and honour her, you choose to give her a new name, one that carries hope for the future. Gently you say to her, You are Eve, the mother of all living. By calling her Eve, meaning life, you affirm that despite what has happened, the two of you will go on to bring forth new life. Through her children, all living generations will come. Your wife looks at you through her tears and manages a soft smile at this gesture. In that moment of pain, the name Eve is a promise that light and life will endure even outside of Eden. Hearing this, you lower your head as tears flow freely. You now fully grasp that the consequence of your disobedience is not only an internal feeling of guilt or a broken relationship with God, but a lasting change to your very existence and to the world you live in. One day you will die, your wife will die, and all your children after you will experience suffering and mortality. The perfect eternal life that could have been yours by freely eating of the tree of life is now out of reach, at least for now. Overcome with remorse, you and your wife cling to each other, sobbing quietly. In that moment you truly feel the loss of innocence, loss of ease, loss of unbroken fellowship with God. Yet even now God shows you mercy. As you stand there in your makeshift leaf garments, shivering and ashamed, God gently provides for your most immediate need. The Lord God fashions tunics of animal skins for you and your wife. You watch in humbled amazement as he clothes you both with these durable coverings. The feel of the soft leather against your skin is a tangible reminder that he still cares for you, despite your disobedience. In order to make these garments, an animal from the garden was sacrificed, the first death, though you do not see it happen. The clothing is a bittersweet gift. It both covers your nakedness and signifies that life in Eden has fundamentally changed. With gratitude and sorrow, you whisper a thank you to God as you feel the warmth of the garment replacing the inadequate fig leaves. Your wife touches the new clothing and nods in agreement, whispering her own thanks through her tears. Clothed now and somewhat comforted by this act of grace, you stand with your wife as God speaks once more, almost as if to himself. Behold, the man has become like one of us, to know good and evil. You hear sadness in his voice, understanding that your new knowledge has cost you dearly. God then says, And now, lest he put out his hand and take also of the tree of life, and eat and live forever. He does not finish the sentence, but you grasp the implication. In this fallen state, with sin and death now part of your reality, it would be a great tragedy for you to live forever in such a condition, estranged from God. To prevent that, you realize God must send you away from Eden, away from the tree of life. Your heart breaks anew as God's intent becomes clear. This garden, this paradise that has been your home, must no longer be your dwelling. There is no arguing or pleading that can change what is set into motion. Gently but firmly the Lord God leads you and your wife toward the exit of the Garden of Eden. You walk slowly, each step heavy with reluctance and regret. The sun is sinking now, casting long shadows of the trees you may never see again. You reach the eastern edge of the garden, the place that will be your point of departure. You both turn for one last look at the only home you've known, The vibrant trees, the sunlight dancing on the river, the distant call of a bird settling in for the night. It's all still there, achingly beautiful but now forbidden to you. At the boundary of Eden, God stations a mighty angel, a cherubim, to stand guard. You and your wife watch in awe and sorrow as this radiant being, with a solemn, compassionate gaze, takes its place. In the cherub's hand is a flaming sword that flashes and turns every way, guarding the path to the tree of life. The fiery blade casts a warm glow in the twilight, a final signal that the way back to the garden is closed. There will be no sneaking back in, not that you would dare. You understand this is for your own good, though it is painful. In your fallen state, to eat of the tree of life and live forever would trap you in an existence of sin without hope of redemption. So the guardian stands, and Eden is now behind you, like a dream just out of reach. Holding hands, you and your wife step forward into the wide unknown world. Outside the garden, the ground feels different beneath your feet. A bit harder, with rough pebbles and thorns that prick your soles, causing you to wince. You realize the truth of God's words. From now on, obtaining food will not be as easy as plucking fruit from a tree in a carefree garden. You will have to labor till the soil, plant seeds and harvest by the sweat of your brow. The thought is daunting, but there is no turning back. Even so, as night falls on this first day outside of Eden, God's presence does not leave you. Though you cannot walk with him in the garden as before, you feel in your heart that he is still watching over you. There is a dim and distant hope that flickers within your grief. Perhaps the very hope God hinted at when speaking to the serpent, that one day good will overcome the evil that has entered the world. You do not know how or when, but you choose to trust that God's love for you has not ended. Your wife leans against you as you both find a spot to rest just outside Eden's gate. Though this land is wilder, you discover a sheltered place under a tree where you can spend the night. The stars emerge one by one above, just as they did the night before, seemingly unchanged. The vast sky reminds you that God is bigger than your failure. With a weary sigh, you and your wife embrace, drawing comfort from each other's warmth. Eventually, exhaustion takes you and you both sleep, not as peacefully as before, but deeply nonetheless, holding on to each other in the darkness. When morning comes, you and your wife awaken outside of Eden to a world that feels both familiar and strange. Together, you begin to face the new reality of life beyond the garden. In the days and weeks that follow, you slowly learn how to survive in this outside world. You wander until you find a small valley that offers shelter, a place with a clear spring for water and a stand of fruit trees for food. It isn't Eden, but it will have to do. Using fallen branches and large leaves, you work with your wife to build a simple hut. It is a modest dwelling, made of twigs and woven foliage, but it protects you from the hot sun by day and the cool winds by night. Side by side, you gather stones to ring a fire pit. After many tries, you discover how to spark a fire by striking flint rocks together. The first time you nurse a small flame to life, you both cheer softly, eyes shining. This fire will cook your food and keep you warm when the nights grow cold. It also wards off the wild animals that now roam the land. Indeed, you notice that some creatures outside Eden are now timid or even unfriendly, a stark change from the universally tame beasts of the garden. One night, you hear the distant howl of wolves echoing through the hills. You and your wife draw close to your crackling fire, your heart pounding until the howls finally fade away. In those fearful moments, you feel vulnerability like never before, but also a resolve igniting within you. Come what may, you will face these challenges together, supporting and comforting one another through every trial. Every challenge you encounter teaches you something new, and slowly you develop skills to meet your needs. You shape simple tools from stone and wood, a sharp flint to cut plant fiber, a sturdy branch to dig in the soil. You learn to plant seeds from the fruits you carried out of Eden, hoping they will grow in this untamed ground. You even manage to befriend a few animals again, perhaps a stray dog that lingers near your camp, which you welcome as a guardian and friend, or some goats that provide milk after you gently gain their trust. These small victories make life a little easier and less lonely. Work becomes a constant part of your days, As God foretold, the earth now yields its bounty only with great effort. Under the hot sun, sweat drips from your brow as you till the stubborn earth. You pull up weeds and thorns that spring up among your crops. Insects and birds sometimes steal away the fruits of your garden, and you must guard and tend it diligently. At times, too much rain turns the soil to mud, or too little rain leaves your plants wilted. In those challenging moments, you remember the effortless abundance of Eden and feel a pang of longing for the lost paradise. Yet amid the struggle, there are moments of triumph and satisfaction. In time, you manage to grow some grains, barley and wheat, in a small field you cleared. After months of patience, you harvest the golden stalks and thresh out the grain. With stones, you grind the grain into coarse flour, mix it with water, and bake it on a flat rock by the fire. The aroma of the first bread you bake fills the air with a rich, comforting scent. You and your wife break off pieces of the warm, crusty loaf and eat. It is simple food, but to you both it tastes like a feast. You share a grateful smile, knowing that through hard work and God's grace, you have created sustenance with your own hands. Together you offer a prayer of thanks to God for this provision, remembering that even outside of Eden he is caring for you. In quieter moments, you and your wife still find time to appreciate the beauty that remains in the world. After a long day's labour, you often pause to watch the sunset together. Brilliant hues of orange, pink and purple flood the sky as the sun sinks below the horizon. You sit on a hilltop, her head resting against your shoulder as the first stars appear in the twilight. The scene is breathtaking, and it comforts you to know that such beauty still exists. It reminds you that God's presence can still be felt in this changed world. Some nights, as darkness falls, you both gaze up at the countless stars above, just as you did in Eden. The Milky Way stretches overhead like a shimmering ribbon of light. You recall how God placed these stars in the heavens, and you realize that he is still with you now. In those moments, you feel peace. You and your wife hold hands and whisper prayers to the Creator, thanking him for guiding you through each day. Though life outside Eden is harder, these moments of wonder and gratitude fill you with hope and the strength to carry on. In time, the word of the Lord to your wife also comes to pass. She conceives a child, and the day comes when she goes into labour, the first birth in history. The pain is unlike anything either of you imagined. She cries out, clutching your hand with a grip as strong as iron. You remember what God said about multiplied sorrow in childbearing, and you feel that sorrow now as you witness her agony, unable to take it away. You stay by her side, wiping her brow, encouraging her with gentle words, praying to God to help her. And God is merciful. After the struggle and pain, you hear the piercing cry of a newborn. Your son has entered the world. Your wife, though exhausted and sweating, laughs with relief and joy as you place the squirming baby in her arms. With great joy and relief, your wife cries out, "I have gotten a man from the Lord," thanking God for this gift of a son. You decide to name the baby Cain, and he is the first of many children to come. Later, your wife bears another son, Abel, and in the years ahead you have other sons and daughters as well. Each child brings both great joy and at times great heartache, but you cherish them all and do your best to raise them in reverence of the Lord. Though you're no longer in Eden, you carry its memory in your hearts. You tell your children about the garden and the goodness of God, of how things were in the beginning. You warn them, too, of the consequences of disobedience, sharing the lessons you painfully learned about trusting God's word and resisting temptation. Some days you walk with your wife to a hilltop from which you can see the distant outline of Eden's trees and the faint glow of the angel's sword at its gate. You reminisce together about the gentle days in the garden, the ease of life, and the sweetness of daily walks with God. There is regret, yes, but also gratitude. For you had experienced paradise, and more importantly, you know the character of God. He is just, but also merciful. He provided for you even when you fell, and he did not abandon you. As the years stretch on, you and your wife grow older. Your hair gains streaks of grey. Your skin shows lines from years under the sun. You have lived a long life. In fact, you will live for many hundreds of years, watching generations of your offspring spread across the land. Yet you never forget Eden. In quiet moments, your wife Eve, whose name forever reminds you of life and living, will softly sing a lullaby to your children about the garden, describing the lush trees and gentle streams. When you hear her singing, you close your eyes and can almost smell the blooms of Eden again, and hear the voice of God walking in the cool of the day. Even though you cannot return to that lost paradise, you sense that God's plan is still unfolding. The hope given in the curse of the serpent, that one day the offspring of the woman would crush the serpent's head, stays alive through the years. You don't know how it will happen, but you trust that God will somehow redeem what was lost. This hope is what keeps you moving forward each day, finding meaning in your labour and love in your family. And so, dear friend, the story of you as Adam and of Eve, your beloved wife, comes to a close in our tale. From perfect peace to tragic fall to enduring hope, you have experienced a great journey. Though Adam and Eve lost the garden, they did not lose God's love, and in time their descendants would come to know that love in new and profound ways. Take a moment now to breathe and absorb this story. I hope it has brought you a sense of calm and reflection. Remember, no matter what you're facing or what mistakes lie in your past, you are not alone. The same God who walked with Adam and Eve in the cool of the day, and who cared for them even after they stumbled, is watching over you too. In life, we all sometimes have moments of innocence, moments of mistakes, and moments of growth. Through it all, there is a divine love that offers guidance, forgiveness, and hope. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the Garden of Eden and beyond. May this story bring peace to your mind and rest to your heart. Wherever you are in the world and whatever troubles you carried earlier, I pray that you feel a little lighter now. Have a blessed night, and until next time, go in peace.